Hello and welcome back to BLISS-ED Conversations, the podcast, and I'm here with Tolly Dolly Posh, who is an Instagrammer, also known as Tolly in real life. And in our first part of the podcast with her, Tolly was telling us about being a young entrepreneur and using social media to build up her brand. And now I just wanted to find out a little bit more about her sustainable fashion, and get some tips for her on how we can be more sustainable and her collaborations. So first off, you talked about in part one of why it's so important to care about the environment with fashion and how it's, a massive contributor to this issue. But tell us about some of the collaborations, some of the people you've been working with.
So, some collaborations can be really small and some can be a little bit bigger. But, so, for example, like on my Instagram, I sometimes work to share campaigns. So, recently I did a little post for the UN coming up towards the COP24 conference, which is the climate change conference, which is held every year. This year it's being held in Poland. I believe it just started, actually. And I was part of their Take Your Seat campaign, which is to help kind of bring the public's voices to the UN and have issues raised by just the general public and people on social media specifically. And I was just kind of asking my followers to get involved and be engaged with the campaign, to voice those opinions or fears or whatever. So I did some polls on Instagram stories, which were actually to contribute to a speech done by David Attenborough. Sir David Attenborough, I should say.
I love that man. He's just amazing.
So yeah, hopefully I should be hearing more about that soon. But that was kind of a very simple thing, but also very important. We definitely need our voices to be heard, especially when there are certain political figures who don't seem to care. Not naming any names. Donald Trump. So yeah, that's just kind of one side to things. And then going back to how we spoke about part one about my gifts, I collaborated with Lonely Whale, which are a kind of anti-plastic campaign group. And
I have to say, I love your anti-plastic gifts.
Thank you.
They are so cool. Everyone should check them out. Use them.
Yes, please do. So yeah, they were behind campaigns like Strawless Seattle, which was to try and ban plastic straws. Not straws completely, and also not plastic straws completely, because there are a lot of things that go into that, like people with disabilities and things like that. But yeah,
what do you mean by that?
So one of the gifts that I made, so I made gifts for them, and one of the gifts I made was environmentalism, not ableism, because some people need accessible tools like plastic straws in order to drink and eat, and so when we kind of go around saying all plastic straws are terrible, it kind of excludes those people from the conversation.
This is a really interesting point, actually, that how we look at plastic. I was reading an article about how we're thinking about plastic so negatively and it's not helping, whereas it's actually an amazing material that has loads of uses if we use it in the right way. The problem is we're just using it in this disposable way, when it's a long-lasting material.
Yeah, there are pros and cons, so you have to look at it like that. I always be like, if you can cut out plastic, do it, because obviously the less the better, but don't go completely writing it off. So yeah, that was a collaboration I did. I've also done things with the campaign Fashion Revolution, who are very big leaders in kind of speaking about sustainable fashion issues. And I made gifts for them as well, and their team is amazing and very honoured to have worked with them. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag of things. And just I always work with people who kind of have the same mindset and values. And yeah, that's very important to me, to make sure I'm working with the right people.
Yeah. And what would your top tips be for people being more sustainable with their fashion, especially coming up to Christmas time? I think this is an important thing.
Well, if we're talking about like Christmas specifically, don't go out getting a party dress just for the sake of it. Like, use what you already have. There's no need to get one for like a specific occasion that you're only going to wear once. Rewear your clothes. That's definitely a big thing. You'll see, not just in fashion but other things, it's like the 3 R's. It's like reuse, recycle, repair, and you can apply that to your clothes too. Rewear. And a good tip for like shopping directly is, if you think you can wear something 30 times or more, so 30 times shouldn't be that's how many times you're going to wear it. Should be, can you wear this 30 times, and then keep going with it. If you don't think you can, don't buy it, because it won't last. Another big thing, and probably my favourite, is to second-hand shop. Especially in the UK, we have so many charity shops that you can make use of.
Also, I've seen lots of people have been doing clothes swaps as well, so you can then change clothes.
Yeah, those worked great too. But yeah, second-hand, you're using what's already there, but you're also not giving money to companies who could be doing better. And also, it's just fun. I find it more fun because you don't know what's going to be there. I recently got a really colourful jumpsuit from a charity shop for £4, so that was good. And don't be like ashamed of it. I feel like hopefully it's starting to die down now, but there's always been like a stigma around second-hand clothes. It's like, you're wearing like an old grandma's jumper. It's like, yeah, because I want to save the planet, and it
Would
also
you say
still looks
it's
cool.
more coming back in trend now?
Yeah, especially like vintage shopping. I think people are like, vintage shopping is like cool.
Yeah.
And obviously there's now like platforms like Depop that a lot of young people use, which is actually very interesting. So even if you don't buy anything on Depop, go and have a look, because you can learn a lot about like people's shopping habits and the fact that people are just buying things and going, oh, actually, why did I buy this? But the return time on the clothes is gone. So, and it's crazy because you have like Primark stuff going up on there, and it's like, people aren't going to pay £5 for a second-hand Primark thing when you could just go and get it for that cheap new. So it's very interesting. And also ask questions and kind of just be more considered when buying things, because the more you do that and the more you ask yourself, like, why am I buying this? Do I know where it came from? Who made it? Things like that. It kind of seeps into your mind.
Would you say that ask questions is a big thing that you believe in? Because I've seen on some t-shirts and stuff that you've designed, there's lots of question marks and kind of not just accepting and following the norm.
Yeah, I mean, that goes across like everything now. It's kind of just, if you ask questions, it's not like necessarily asking them directly, although that's definitely good, but just like asking yourself, that's a good thing to do.
And question is why should people do this? Like, because I think this is a big thing with the environment, is I think people, I included, sometimes you forget about it. You're just busy living your life and you're worried about if that guy you likes you more than the polar bears or the melting ice caps. So why should people make this a priority?
I think especially for young people, it's like, this is our future. Like, there's kind of been this report which has come out by 2040, if we haven't made serious changes, then irreversible climate change could happen. And like, I'll be 40 then. That's not even that old. That's crazy to think. So we will be living this if we don't start changing. And obviously there's all these like excuses of like, well, what am I gonna do? It should be the governments and the big companies. And yes, definitely they should. But what is stopping you? There's nothing stopping you from just.
But also, the governments and businesses change their behaviour because of the consumers, because of us. It's like there's that famous quote by Gandhi, where he's like, I can't tell you to do something unless I do it myself. And I think you're so right. It has to start from us.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully now, like, even with previously spoke about like the environmental inquiry into sustainable fashion, like things like that, you know, they need to happen now. Obviously, those companies and people need to listen to it, but again, like, there's nothing stopping us from just doing small things. So yeah, something that we've kind of briefly touched on, you know, you've asked me about it, is like, for example, women or people who have periods, I won't be exclusive, like, you can change up what you use for that time of the month. And
that is like such a massive if, like, by changing, because I've inspired by what I've seen on your Instagram, I've actually changed all of my period products. And this is getting very personal, but it's an important one. And because it's crazy, normal sanitary towels and things pollute the environment so much, and they take thousands of years to decompose. And there's loads of cool products out there that you can change. Can you name a few?
I mean, if we're getting really honest, I'm wearing some right now. There's this amazing brand which is set up in the US, and I think they're slowly coming towards the UK, and they're called Thinks, and they make period pants, and they're amazing. And that's all I use now. And you just stick them in the wash, and that's it, and you can use them. And
also EcoFem is a great company that I use as well. I think just listening to what you're saying, it's almost like, this is our future, this is our planet. And this is just my personal opinion here, but I'm just like, if we don't start caring for our planet, then for me it's just common sense. It's like, if we don't make this a priority, then all of the other things that we think about become irrelevant. Because it's like, if the planet isn't here, we're not here.
The thing is, the planet will go on without us, but we won't.
And it's like, and if it's a horrible place for us to live, no one's going to want to live there. And, you know,
we're not going off to Mars.
No, exactly. So it's like, we haven't got another option. And why do we need to have another option? This planet's amazing. We just need to...
And also there's a great book called Cradle to Cradle, and it's written by the people behind the Cradle to Cradle company organisation, which is about like circular products and production. And something that came up in that book, which was, I was like, yeah, that's so true, is we need to stop saying like we can do better and be like, we need to do the best. Because if we keep saying better, it's just like putting a plaster over something.
In the future. I'm going to give up. I'm going to just do it now. The time, like, there's so many small changes that we can do, like changing your products, going to a charity shop instead. Like, we don't have to, as you're saying, we don't have to change the whole world, but just small steps, knowing that that's making a huge difference.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Tolly.
No worries. It was good to do this.
Yeah. All right.
Get some things off my chest.
Yeah, and if you have any ideas, then please contact us. Message BLISS-ED on Instagram at BLISS-Generation, or Twitter, Facebook, email. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.